Hey YouTube, didn't see a lot of videos on this, so I got a Brute Force 300. It's a 2018. I just kind of want to walk through the installation of the winch on a Brute Force 300. Not a lot's changed on these bikes since they started making them, I think 2012. So this should work well for any of them for many years. So I stuck a Champion 3,000 pound winch on. The factory plate right up under here is there. Sometimes it can be kind of hard to see because this plastic has to be cut out to allow the winch to sit in there. And when you take off this big piece of plastic right here, on the back side of it you can see some lines that you can trim all the way around to cut the piece of plastic out to put your winch in. And then this particular winch came with the winch mounting plate to hold the fairlead in place. Harbor Freight winches, you can pretty much do the same exact thing with them if you prefer Harbor Freight, and any other winch manufacturer out there. So the first problem I had was trying to figure out where to put the solenoid. So as you see, my wiring comes up through here, and my solenoid, I actually popped this cover off, and right underneath of it there's an empty space that you can mount your solenoid. Now I had to drill some holes in the plastic, but you can hopefully see up there where the wires run up in and around. There's a plastic piece right here, and I drilled a couple of holes in the bottom, and you can see these screws right here are what holds the winch contactor in place. Now with this cover off up here, you can get to all the screws on the top of your winch contactor. Now, so pop the seat off. What I ended up doing is I ran my wiring down the side. You can kind of see here, comes back down, it's zip tied all up to the frame, and it's connected directly into the battery. You might be wondering why you see the blue and the yellow wire back here and the black and red was up front. Well, they Champion gave me the very long blue and yellow wires, and the black and red were the shorts, so I just flip-flopped them. So just make sure that you're hooking up your positive and your negatives correctly. It doesn't matter what color your wires are, just be careful. If you want to label them, you can label them. But that's kind of how I did mine. Eventually I'll get something better here to cover up that positive terminal, but that's kind of where we're at right now. So my particular Champion came with a big giant box, solenoid box and switch all in one. It was supposed to sit up here. I didn't like it, and I wanted to put a remote wireless control in. So as you can see there, I've got a smaller Champion provided switch that comes with the wireless kit, which is this other black box right there. This black box is connected. The wires run up through this side, as you see here. They run up and they connect into the switch under this particular housing right here. So the switch requires 12-volt power. I wanted it to be a switch 12-volt power, so what I did, because I didn't want to cut into the harness, is I took these two screws off. This popped up, and I found the pigtail for the key switch, and I connected into the pigtail. So if I ever have a wiring issue or a short or something, or a wire breaks, I can just replace the key switch in the pigtail and not have to worry about splicing my main harness. So I don't have those off of there to show you, but all the wiring is right up under here, and I just used a basic splice connector to get the wiring in there. I use a little T splice. I got them off of Amazon. They weren't that expensive. I think there was like 10 bucks for a 300 count pack, but they did a pretty good job, so that way I can also just pop it off and disconnect it if I need to. And then if you see the wiring, you can't even really tell that this isn't factory here, but this particular one right here is the winch wire. So that's pretty much how I got it on. Like I said, the biggest challenge was trying to figure out where to put the winch contactor. I didn't see a place where Kawasaki actually put something in place or mount in place to mount a winch contactor. I couldn't find any auxiliary mounting brackets like I've seen with like Can-Ams and some other manufacturers. So I just went ahead and put that in. Like I said, again, it's right under this cover here. It's pretty easy to get to. But if you're trying to figure out how to get a winch on Brute Force 300, I know they're cheaper units. They're not 4x4, but for those who have them and want to put a winch on, that's how we did it. For me, I put the winch on for something else. That's going to come in another video here soon. but stay tuned for that.